based on recent developments, including the former president's announcement that he is a candidate for president in the next election, and the sitting president's stated intention to be a candidate as well, I have concluded that it is in the public interest to appoint a special counsel. Such an appointment underscores the department's commitment to both independence and accountability in particularly sensitive matters.
All right, President Trump's plan to escape indictment, perhaps, by announcing his 2024 campaign lasted 3 days. Friday afternoon, always a telling time to announce things. The Attorney General said he was going to appoint a special counsel to take over the Mar-a-Lago raid and January 6th investigations. Jack Smith served as acting U.S. Attorney for the DOJ 2017, started his career in the New York County District Attorney's Office. Jack Smith, who we have a picture of, also has been over at The Hague as a chief prosecutor of the special court. He'll be back here in a couple of days. Tom Dupree, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General under George W. Bush, now one of America's premier attorneys in private practice, with us now. President Trump's supposed to speak about an hour from now from Mar-a-Lago to give his thoughts on this. I can imagine his attorneys probably would advise him not to speak.
I think we can be certain of that, Leland, and I think we can be just as certain that former President Trump will disregard their advice. Look, it's no secret here. The president is not thrilled to be the subject of another special counsel investigation. He's already been making public comments about he doesn't want to participate in the process. His spokesmen have been going after the special counsel. And look, I think they knew that this day might come, and so they are ready, armed for bear, and I think they're just going to be unleashing attacks on the special counsel for the foreseeable future.
And Garland went to sort of lengths to describe him as the career prosecutor, the ultimate lawman who's not supposed to be partisan, on and on and on. And you hear special counsel and you think, oh, well, they get to make all the decisions. But in the end, this is still up to Merrick Garland, right? This guy doesn't get to just charge whoever he wants, or perhaps more importantly, not charge whoever he wants.
That's right. Ultimately, the decision is going to be on Merrick Garland's desk. And look, the special counsel allows Merrick Garland to say, look, this isn't a political decision. We've outsourced this decision to an independent prosecutor who's not going to be tainted or corrupted by political considerations. But you're absolutely right about that. At the end of the day, the buck stops with Merrick Garland and Joe Biden.
So practically, this from any objective or reasonable person would say doing this is a sort of a political and optics move rather than really changing how these investigations work.
Yeah, look, the special counsel is to some extent insulated from political considerations. In other words, it would be a mistake to say, well, they're indistinguishable from just a regular DOJ prosecutor. There are protections in place to ensure independence. But look, at the end of the day, if it's the Attorney General's call, it's ultimately going to be his call, regardless of whether there's a special counsel involved.
I think about the flip side. We're always told, oh, the DOJ operates independently, and the White House keeps bending over backwards to say, oh, we don't have anything to do with the DOJ. Isn't appointing a special counsel sort of admitting, well, gee, there is sort of some political considerations that a lot of people in the DOJ might have, and now we're going to appoint this guy who nobody has ever heard of?
Yeah, I mean, it is peculiar. And the other thing that's a little peculiar about this, Leland, is the fact that it comes just 72 hours after the former president declared himself a candidate for the presidency. In other words, people in America, I think, are going to look at this and kind of wonder. They're going to raise their eyebrows. They're going to say, is this cause and effect? Is it just a coincidence that 3 days after Trump says he's getting back in the race, they appoint the special counsel? The timing, to me, at a minimum, indicates a little bit of maybe tone deafness on the part of the Biden administration.
Garland spoke to that, though, right? He said because of the former president's announcement and the fact that Biden is also, President Biden, Mr. Biden is talking about running as well, that I did this. So at some level, it's sort of stating the obvious, right?
It is, but look, it's got to be one of the most open secrets in the world that Trump was going to run again. In other words, it wasn't as though, 4 days ago he wasn't in politics and all of a sudden everything has changed and he is. I mean, the announcement was really a formality. So, look, if I were in Merrick Garland's shoes, it seems to me this was a decision to appoint a special counsel either you could have made months before or you could have let a little more time pass before doing it. The timing just raises questions.
Yeah, certainly. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.